Bronson Kaufusi is our first guest tonight. He played defensive end and linebacker at BYU. He also played center on the basketball team during his sophomore year. After BYU, had stints with the Ravens, the Jets, and the Packers. And if you notice this past off season, he did a little moonlighting on our BYUtv Game Day program, and we expect that to continue into the future as we welcome Bronson Kaufusi. What's more fun, playing the game or being a television football analyst?
Oh, that's a tough one.
That's tough, huh?
Now, before you answer, in the game, you get hit hard.
Yeah.
As a football analyst, you get hit afterwards on social media going, man, can you believe Bilo said that? So you get it either way.
Yeah, no, it's true. I'm trying to think
But they're very different animals.
Yeah, they're very different animals. I think now that I'm done playing, I'm like, this is way better in the box doing that. When I was playing, I was like, oh, this is
Someone comes in,
great.
Marin comes over, powders your nose,
massages,
make sure you have something to eat, and then I think
get pampered.
I think that's why the Tom Brady's of the world are going. We're going right into the booth.
Absolutely.
Troy Aikmans and all those guys. If they played and they had a good time, they want to continue it, but they don't want to get hit anymore because their knees are shot.
Yeah,
and they go into broadcasting. Before we got a great list of questions for you, but let's talk about a few Cougars in the NFL from over the weekend. And Zach Wilson was 27-36, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns. They beat Houston, which is a decent team, 30-6 in the rain. After all that Zach's gone through, and all that as bad as the Jets, as a former Jet, we have some Jet questions for you.
Yeah.
What did you think of Zach when he did that yesterday?
I loved it, honestly, because I felt like everyone got to see Zach and his true talent and ability. I felt like, him being able to be out there and just play loose, play free. Man, it was good to see. And it's also just good for him from the business side of things too.
Right.
Because you don't know what's going to happen, like what the front office is thinking, what they want to do, and so either way, as long as you play at a high level on game day in the NFL, it's going to help you in all areas.
When you think of the quarterback situation in the league, there are guys playing I've never even heard of before, and we follow football. And then the guys behind them are other guys we haven't heard before because the starter got hurt, the superstar got hurt.
Yeah.
If you're a GM, and the Deseret News reported over the weekend through their sources close to the situation, whether it's with Zach's family or with the Jets, that the Jets are going to trade Zach after the season. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But if you're a GM, do you want him? And if you're a GM that could pick where he goes, what team would you send Zach to?
That's a good question. I would definitely take him because if you think about it, from where he started his career to where he is now, there's a lot of growth that's taking place. And I feel like, I would want to bring him onto the team. And let's just, I want to see him in a different scenario.
Like San Francisco, Seattle, Cowboys.
Seattle would be great. I think he'd be great up there with Pete.
Yeah.
I think he'd be great, honestly. You really never know what people are thinking, but you always just need one team.
And with a team with an offensive line. Is that if you're Zach and you're going, where do I want to go if I get a say in it? It's like, show me the depth of the offensive line, because this is what I'm coming from.
Yeah.
And if you're going to a team that's got a really good quarterback and a really good offensive line, the chances of that quarterback making it through the season are less than the chances of that line holding up and protecting. And you want to be behind that kind of line, don't you?
Yeah. No, definitely. You want to be behind that type of line. You want to be in a place that really takes your strengths and uses them at a high level. Yeah. Sometimes you go to places where they don't really use your strengths,
right?
And you don't really, and then they're like, oh, he doesn't fit or this and that. But you can get into a place where the system's great, the coaches really believe in you. Just because sometimes that's all it takes. Like you see players all the time like that in the NFL, where it's like, where'd they come from? Well, it's because they went into a situation where the coach really believed in them and was able to give them opportunities.
Well, the Rams believe in Puka.
That is exactly.
And when they draft him, it's like, oh, Cooper Kupp's there and he catches all the passes, but he also gets all the attention. Mm-hmm. And so here's Puka, 8 catches for 84 yards. Even had a rushing play for 6 yards. They lost to Baltimore in overtime. It wasn't Puka's fault, but How about Puka and what he's done? He's playing like a veteran.
Yeah.
And he made some catches yesterday where you're like,
It's not surprising at all. I think I said this story a couple times. Ross used to train him in high school, and I would always go out to the 7-on-7 camps and the all-day, flag football tournaments. And I think he was a junior in high school. And, me and Ross, I was a senior. He was a true freshman. So that DB receiver relationship, he already laughed because he already knows it.
Best friends.
We're best friends on and off the field, right? But we're always in this weird competitive, type of energy, no matter what. And so I get there and I start talking trash, and he starts talking trash, and he'll line up right now talking about Puka. And I was like, let's go. Somebody give me cleats. And mind you, I'm scared out of my mind. I'm like, 7 years removed or 5 years, however long I was done playing. And I still got it, but I don't know. I'm like, I can't get humiliated. Right? That's going to be ugly. So I'm looking, and by the time somebody, takes off their cleats, it's kind of taking a long time. So Ross goes, no, it's okay. I'm just playing. And I go, oh, thank you, Lord Jesus.
Yeah, you saved that Achilles, bro.
Right. So my point is that, like I as a former D1 athlete, I was nervous to go up against, one of the number one receivers in high school, in the state of Utah, because I saw his work ethic. I saw he worked each and every day. Every time I went out, to work with Ross or visit with Ross or watch these tournaments, he just was so far ahead of everybody. It looked like he was playing at a different level, and he's done that each and every stage and each and every team that he's been on. And so, for guys like us that follow him, it's like it's not surprising. I'm happy that for him that all that hard work is starting to he's starting to reap the reward for that.
Yeah.
And I'm happy selfishly for the brand of BYU football, right?
Yeah.
But again, I'm not excited at all. I just hope that he continues to stay healthy and has a long career.
Here's another brand guy, Kyle Van Noy.
Yes.
3 solos yesterday, 2 tackles for loss. He would be considered a veteran in today's world, one of your former colleagues and teammates, but he's spectacular, and he also has found a way to just elevate his game.
Yes, it's been really fun, watching Kyle throughout the years, and he's a guy where he gets drafted by Detroit, he goes there, the system isn't really matching.
Right.
He gets picked up by Bill over there at the Patriots, and Bill knows exactly how to use him, and all of a sudden, all his strengths,
2 Super Bowls,
literally dominates. And I played against him a couple of times, right? And watching him out there, like what he does great. Oh, it was really cool to see the team use him that way. And then, this year, right, years later, he's, training, and all of a sudden he gets a call, and he goes right in. And then how do they use him? Exactly what makes him great.
He was on this show, and he said, here's my plan. I don't want to go to training camp.
It worked well for him.
And then I think he started to squirm a little bit because it was a little later in the season.
Yeah.
And then the Ravens called him, put him on the practice squad, and I think they elevated him like 2 days later.
Yeah.
And now he's out there doing what he does best and smiling. And yesterday he was trying to tackle Puka, Cougar tackling a Cougar. Let's run over a couple of names this week in the NFL. Thursday night, Michael Davis and the Chargers at the Raiders. Davis had an interception yesterday. Is he the forgotten Cougar?
Absolutely.
He's making a fortune in the NFL. He's been there forever, holding down the corner with the Chargers, and he just keeps playing.
Oh, he's so good. I remember when he came to BYU, my dad was telling me about him, and he's like, yeah, man, this guy, man, he was playing wide receiver, right? But then when I saw him and my dad was telling me about him, he's like, this guy's got like NFL corner talent. Like he's tall, he's long, he can do everything. And I remember when they moved him to defense and watched him out there, it's like, no, he really does. Like he can do it all. Like, so I'm so proud of Mikey D. Like he's doing so good.
Saturday, there's a bunch of games, 3 this weekend. The Vikings with Jaron Hall and Kyrus Tonga at the Bengals. Vikings are trying to figure out what to do with the quarterback. Maybe Jaron gets in this week. kind of feels like they're getting closer to going, you know what? It's not working out with these other two guys.
Let's give him another shot. What do you say? Let's give.
Has he cleared? Has he been cleared?
Yeah, he's been cleared. He was third string last week. And he came in. He was doing the job. They got a concussion, and he went out. We've seen him deal with concussions in consecutive years here, but I don't know what they're being hesitant about. The backup isn't getting it done, and Dobbs Magic's lost, although they did beat the Raiders 3-0.
Oh, that was a boring game, huh?
That was the lowest scoring game indoors in NFL history.
When I saw that, I looked at the scores, and when I saw the 3-0, I thought they were still playing. So I refreshed. I had to refresh Google. And I was like, wait
the
a
refreshing button.
Yeah.
The Steelers are at the Colts. Blake Freeland's getting a good season in as a rookie. Yeah. On Sunday, Zach's at the Dolphins. Another shot at the Dolphins. And if he goes in there playing loose and free, why not?
Oh, yeah. Why not? Yeah, he's so talented. You know, when he goes in playing like that, I mean, he elevates. And you can kind of tell when you're watching him. Like his body language.
If they just let him
he looks just more he looks really fluid. Like you can tell he's just having a fun time. Like it's just like him playing in the backyard. So I'm excited for him, honestly. These next few weeks, I think he's going to be able to like really, build his stock up just from how he plays the next few weeks.
So Bronson, you played for the Jets. We had Harvey Lange in here a couple weeks ago. He played for the Jets. What's wrong with the Jets?
What's wrong with the Jets?
Why can't they? Are they that dysfunctional, or is it just everything that's happened around Zach has been mismanaged in some way, whether by Zach or by the Jets or certainly by the media that cover the Jets? But I don't even know who you blame, but it's been awful. What's up with the Jets?
Man, I would say, when I'm watching it from home and seeing and from being there, I feel like if you can get the team where everyone is, cutting out distraction. And I mean, that goes from off the field stuff to, I don't know, it could be, them just not taking the game serious at a serious level. Like everyone needs to be going at the same time. I feel like at the Jets, you have, everyone's kind of off a little bit as far as no one's firing at all levels, and you don't get to see that very often from the Jets. But if they were able to do that from, all areas of the
defense,
game,
offense,
special teams. I feel like, they can be really good. And I loved my time there. Like I really loved it. And I wanted to win so bad for, that fan base and everyone there. And, but having A-Rod go there, he's the guy, to do it. He really is. Like he's so from watching him in Green Bay.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Speaking of Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Aaron is just, I've never seen anyone do the things that he does as far as his skill level and on the field. Yeah. But then also his leadership off the field, it's strong. It's really powerful. And I think that's really, what it's going to take to get the Jets where they need to be. And so, having Zach there, being able to learn from Aaron is so.
It was supposed to be great, right? It was supposed to be great. Yeah. But he's still learning from him. Yeah. Aaron's right there. And the best thing the Jets have done, as far as Zach's concerned, is they haven't stiffed him on any of his paychecks. So he's getting his $35 million, whether he's getting chewed up and spit out or whether he's thrown for 300 yards. And that's also part of professional life, right? Nothing's fair.
Yeah.
There's nothing fair about any of it. So you get your money and you survive.
Yeah.
And then maybe you get to another contract.
Yeah.
Is that pretty much the road of a professional athlete?
Yeah. You just want to stay in it as long as you can, honestly, because there's so much you don't control. And, every day you tie your cleats up and go out there, it's an opportunity because you never know. Honestly, you don't know what can happen each day. So you just get used to, going out there and just trying to do your best every day. And it does help when you're going out there with a mentor or someone out there that has been there and done that and who actually wants to help you and is open to helping you. Yeah. That's why I was, so excited when Aaron Rodgers was going to New York. So I was like, man, this will be great. And even right now it's great because I know Aaron and I watched him and how he helped Jordan Love in Green Bay.
And look at Jordan Love now.
Right.
He's got it figured out.
Yeah, and he's coming along, and even to see Jordan go from like the beginning there to the end, he got so much better. Like, and you have Aaron Rodgers, when we're doing 2-minute during practice, like you have, Aaron on the mic with Jordan Love out there. I know he's doing the same thing with Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
And so, it's super helpful.
Former New York Jet, Baltimore Raven, Green Bay Packer, and BYU defensive end Bronson Kaufusi on the Wise Guys. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and ysguys.com. Zane Anderson, speaking of the Packers, is hanging on, taking on the Bucks on Sunday. Taysom, Jamal, and Danny Sorensen get the Giants, so that should be a fun day for everybody. Taysom's a little banged up. See if he gets back out there. Tyler Algiers had a different season than his 1,000-yard rookie year. He's still getting carries. He's still in the game, but he's sharing carries with the kid out of Texas. Algiers taking on the Panthers. Sione Takitaki, another one of your guys, is still kicking it with the Browns and playing good. Andy Reid and the Patriots, or the Chiefs are at the Patriots. And I haven't even asked you about the Commanders are at the Rams for Puka, and then Van Noy's got the Jaguars Sunday night. The Ravens at the Jaguars, which is a big game. But I haven't asked you about Fred Warner. The 49ers are playing at the Cardinals. And is Fred Warner not the best linebacker in the NFL?
Oh, he's the best.
How did that become that?
Oh man, you know what? There's a really cool documentary. It's not a documentary, it's an interview with Fred's linebacker coach.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah, seen it.
Where he talks about I saw a guy that really wanted to be great, and he had the mic, and he was talking about how he had to really own that whole situation. And how he just pretty much just spoke belief into him, and that's all Fred needed. And then literally he just took off. I've loved watching that.
He's fun to watch play. Right when they break the huddle, you just watch him, and he seems to know where to go, and he knows what to do, and everyone's kind of going, "We're following you, Fred."
He just seemed. I think the best word to describe Fred is how his play is that he's in control. He's just. Oh, it's hard. I think that's probably the best word to say it. Right. Like you said, He knows football. He knows the defense. He knows the offense. I mean, how many replays when after he's done making a play, where we're able to see the wide view, and pre-snap read, he starts inching over to the number 3 receiver, and the snap of the ball, he runs the route before the receiver does and gets the interception, right? Or knows what gap the ball is going to be ran into it. And you start seeing those things in the replay. You don't see them happening live because of the TV view, but that's just a guy that understands football, understands the X's and O's. Super competitive, man. I mean, super competitive. And you can tell by the passion every time he makes a play, obviously, but every time one of his players makes a play.
Yeah.
Every time somebody on special teams makes a play, he's one of the first ones to go out and and celebrate with them. And that says a lot, right? When you're invested in everybody on your roster, having success, and then when they do have success, you go out and you celebrate with them. That's a sign of a leader as well.
Can teammates tell when you're BYU and you're practicing and playing in games, and you certainly had a high level of success, but when you look over there and you see a Fred Warner or a Taysom Hill or Jamal Williams, can you just tell that it's they have something else? They have something different, something more, and you would fit into that category too as a player who went on and got paid to play. But what is it? Does the rest of the team know? Hey, that's Fred, and you know what? In a few years, he's the best linebacker in the NFL.
You know what? I feel like it's like doing a puzzle, right? Each piece you put in, you start to see the picture more and more. And I feel like when all the great players, you start to, as they're playing. And it's funny because as a teammate, and you're sitting there and you're watching them, and you can see it. Everyone in that whole building can see it, and they know. And maybe not everyone's gonna go up to them and be like, "Oh wow, yeah, this and this, you're going there." But everyone knows it.
Notice.
Everyone knows it. It's and you just see them get better and better and better. And I mean, you can look at Fred's career, Taysom,
Van Noy, even.
Yeah,
when Van Noy was out there, you just knew.
Yeah.
You didn't know where he was going to go, but you just knew he was going to go somewhere.
Yeah, and it's really cool. It's really cool to see.
So how big is it for recruiting, both tradition and in the portal? We're talking about kids everywhere. To be able to see so many BYU guys, not only in the NFL, getting paid in the NFL, and then being on the field on Sundays. It's just about every game's got a BYU guy in it.
Yeah.
How big of a deal is that to the future player?
It's everything.
Really?
I truly believe, because as a high school kid, you obviously, when you're deciding on a school, it's like every high school kid going to the NFL in their mind, right?
Right.
And and that's just how it is. And so when they want to see like proof that, like it's happening,
Yeah, exactly.
Because it would be so hard to recruit guys if you had no one in the NFL. Like it would be really tough, especially with NIL going on now. So,
Right.
I mean, yeah, the money does talk, and you have to pay players, but it's all the players are like, well, I want to go to the NFL.
Exactly.
Like that's I'm playing for that check, and so.
Look, I'll give you a little perspective. So when I was coming out of high school and going to junior college, I lived in an area where there was 5 junior colleges that were between 5 to 10 minutes away from me. None of those JCs were sending kids D1. The most they were sending kids were D2, so not even like AA schools. So I sacrificed an hour and a half both ways from where I lived to my JC every day, because the school I went to, Foothill Junior College, the year before I got there, they had sent 16 kids D1, and then the year before they had sent 11, and then I think the year prior to that was like 13 kids. My year when we left, we sent 11 kids D1. So it's the same. So that sacrifice wasn't a sacrifice compared to what the other options I had. But it's the same thing when it comes to these kids and choosing a college, right? It's my number one metric of choosing a junior college was how many kids are going D1.
Yeah.
Same thing with college, with high school kids, is how many kids are going to the NFL.
There's 2 portals. There's the portal that gets kids around college teams, but then there's the portal that takes kids to the NFL.
That's the one
that's the portal that everyone.
That's the
one you can compete on, no matter what the NIL is. If you're putting guys in the pros, you can get guys who want to be in that portal.
Hey, that's a really good article.
The regular guys just want to, hey, I'll take my money now because I'm not going to get any over here. You know what else we've seen, I think has been interesting, is there was a time not long ago when there was a lot of pressure on Latter-day Saint athletes that, hey, you can't be old and go to the NFL. You can't go on a mission and go to the NFL. Those 2 years are too valuable because it takes a year when you get back, and you know all about that. But what we're seeing is that's not true. And now there's evidence of that. Which, well, why don't you call Taysom? Why don't you call Jaron? Those are 2 quarterbacks in the NFL getting NFL money, who went on missions, and that eliminates the opposing coach going, dude, don't go on a mission. You come here and I'll get you ready. And if you go on a mission, you can't do it. But now the league's decorated with guys who have, and not just BYU guys. You see a lineman going to Michigan, and Harbaugh's like, we'll see you after your mission.
Yeah.
And they're embracing talent as opposed to resisting this 2-year break, because in the end, that 2-year break isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's been. I mean.
So and I say break, I don't mean a vacation. I just mean break from football.
Break from football, yeah. So like when I was in high school, you brought up Harbaugh. So he was recruiting me to Stanford really hard. He had just recruited Taysom.
He almost got you too.
Yeah, that's true.
You're gonna go to Stanford?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So the reason why is because they had their D-line coach was a member of the church, Lance Anderson,
right?
And he was there, and he started coming into Utah and recruiting a bunch of guys. And Gary Crowton had just left and went to LSU. And then all of a sudden, you had this big pipeline being built in Utah high school football, because all of a sudden we started sending guys to the Under Armour All-American game, like a lot of guys. And so it was like, wow, okay, what's going on? But Harbaugh got really familiar with dudes that were going on missions and members of the church, and while he was at Stanford, I think, because he was coming into this recruiting pipeline.
He got
so
Taysom to
hard.
Stanford.
Yeah, Taysom was going to Stanford. And then, because he was in Australia on his mission, and I was in New Zealand, and then I heard that he was going to BYU. And I was like, okay, sweet, that's cool, because I knew of Taysom.
Right.
But Harbaugh, yeah, I mean, him alone, like knowing about, kids. I remember the church of the church, like going and doing that. Like, no, it's fine, it works. Like they're gonna come back, get into shape, and they'll be able to make a difference on the field.
Yeah, that's been an interesting transition. I mean, growing up as a kid, it was if you were a really good athlete, you played.
Yeah.
And now it's hey, you can have both.
Yeah. No, it's real.
Well, that's a good message.
I think the churches, well, probably because social media too now, right? And the church, and I'm speaking from an outside perspective, because I'm not LDS, but
right, but you're on the inside.
Yeah, I am on the inside actually. That's a good one. I feel like with social media and just the education of missions and the importance of missions, but then also it's the same thing that we said earlier, right? These younger kids, when they're faced of going on a mission, they look at, okay, Taysom did it. They're looking at the guys that did it, and they're like, oh well, they had success, so I could have success.
You gotta have proof, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
100%.
that's faith is stuff you don't see, but sometimes as a kid, you like to see. Well, I don't know if it's going to work out for me, but I see that it worked out for him, or him, or her,
exactly.
And it's important, and going to go do it. So I just love those examples. I was talking to Taysom about it on the golf course a couple of years ago, and I said, it's more than just what you're doing for the Saints. It's what every athlete wants to grow up and be an athlete like you, and you took 2 years out and gave it to the Lord on your mission.
Exactly.
And it didn't hurt you.
Bingo.
Some people never come back and don't want to do it. That's fine, or whatever, but it wasn't, hey, you know what? I had to choose between my career and a decision when I'm 18 years old. It's like, it's not that you can do both.
Yeah. No, you can. You know what was really cool? I remember because I came home 6 days before fall camp. Yeah. For my mission, and jumped right in.
Tell me you didn't play that year.
Oh, I played. Yes. Okay. I played football and basketball that year.
Those rules that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, that's not happening. It's
6 days
now.
in, you're back in. But you were a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah, and I felt like because my dad was my coach, right? And he knew, like, he was really good at being patient and helping me be patient. Because as an athlete, when you come home, you want everything now. Right. And you're like, I'm in it. Like, I want to go now. And then you see a lot of, return missionaries who are out there, they kind of have some muscle tissue issues. They pull a hamstring, pull a calf, whatever. Yeah. And I don't know. I felt fortunate just because, when I had initially got home for like a time there, I felt like, they did a really good job of making sure like I was, not overexerting myself on those sprints, those pursuit drills that Velo knows about. My dad was like, hey, you know what? You can't do these yet. You will do them, but for now, you're gonna go run around the field. And so I would just go do that. Yeah, smart. I just got back so late, and my body, even like during it, wasn't ready. And so I could go in sparingly. Yeah. But I wasn't going to be like a 4-down guy out the gate. So
it's hard to convince kids. Yeah. I mean, the Daily boys, they wanted it right then, right now, and didn't get it, and both are in the portal. It's you see it all over the place. No one likes to wait, even though waiting is what's best for your body. Yeah. Never mind the coach's opinion of you. If you have a blown hamstring, you're not doing anything for anybody. Yeah. And how many times have we seen people come, get back, get going early, and get laid up with some kind of issue? We see it in basketball. It's on all college sports. Yeah. So like Kalani likes to do the gray shirt and go, hey, you come back, we'll give you a year to get your body back, and then we'll put you through. Unless you can come back in 6 days and get into play. But not everyone can, unless you're you. Bronson Kaufusi on the Wise Guys tonight. He played for the Cougars between 2012 and 2015, as we say hello to Glenn in the Philippines on our live stream tonight. 175 tackles, 43.5 for loss, 25.5 sacks. Is it 25.5 or 26.5?
think it's 26 and a half.
26 and a half. And is it one shy? Is it one shy of the school record? Does Jorgensen have it?
Yeah, I think he does.
He's like 27, 28 maybe.
Yeah.
But you're second, I know.
Yeah.
By half.
You almost had it. You almost had it.
Close, right?
You know you should do? So I learned about this a couple years after I was done playing, and Vic Soto actually told me this, that you can go back and watch your games and get credit for stats that they missed.
What, you can go recount the ballots?
Yeah, you can go back. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Yeah,
well,
you sure can.
I'll be going there.
Make sure you have another set of eyes. Bronson, you weren't even on the field on that play when we sacked that quarterback. How is it that you sacked the quarterback? So you'll need someone to go, number 90's not in yet. You're over here.
That's what we were saying. That's what we were saying to
Vic. You'd come up with 10 more picks.
No. This is what we were saying to Vic. So it's me, and ask Brandon Bradley next time you guys see him.
Yeah.
I remember we were looking at the stats, and after the season was over, and we were like, Vic, how in the world did you get this sack and this? And he was like, oh, you just got to go talk to the stats man. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
What you mean talk to the stats man? And he was like, yeah, you just talk to him, you submit it, and then they'll change it. And I was like, you could just lie? And he was like, I don't know. I just submitted it, and I got my stats.
Look, Al Gore thought that was going to work for him back in the day, recounting the ballots in Florida, and it didn't work out that way.
Yeah, Trump too.
Sometimes you might come up with a few less.
Recount.
Hey, what should this defense be doing here in the offseason as we shift into getting ready for year 2 of the Big 12?
Man, I'm just excited because I want to see TFLs and sacks. That's, for me personally, like, in order for the defense to play at a high level, I mean, you got to have multiple guys who can rush the passer and win one-on-ones. Mm-hmm. At least you got to have one guy on the edge and one guy on the inside who can both win a one-on-one.
Yeah.
And that makes you so much better up front, but then it helps your DBs on the back end. Yeah. And so, I think there's going to be a big jump by a lot of our guys because it's a new defense, right? And it's like, okay, now I know where I can take risks, what I can do, this and that. And so I feel like our guys that are going to be back next year are going to make that jump for sure. I know it. And then then we're going to bring in some guys, that can make immediate impact. And so just because I definitely just want to help for me, like the DVs, I want to be their best friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
true.
I
really do want to, because they know if I'm getting home,
yeah,
they know if I get home one time, I'm probably been there 3 or 4 other times close. Yeah. And out of those 3 or 4 other times, I probably, help change the trajectory of that ball.
Right.
Which then allows them to get their interceptions and
you
everything.
get pressure on the quarterback. They get all kinds of things back there, in the secondary, right? Yeah. But if you don't, and we saw that this year, without pressure on the quarterbacks today are good enough to put it right on the money, and you can't stop them.
Yeah. You have to have, I'm the one, up front, I always felt like I had a responsibility for the DBs in the back. Because I remember Rob, RD, he was my biggest fan. I would make a sack or a play, and the first guy that's on my jumping and is Rob or another DB, because they know hey, you're affecting the quarterback. It's going to make their job easier because every time I hit the quarterback, I affect him down the line.
Well, look what the Cowboys did to Hurts last night. Yeah. And the secondary had a heyday against the guy when given time will pick you apart.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden he looked like he was running for his life the whole night, and the Dallas defense, the whole unit, looked spectacular. Whereas when they played in Philadelphia, it was different. Yeah. Hurts had time, and he ate them up.
It also sets the tone too at the game. So if the D line can get into the backfield and hit the quarterback as quickly as possible, meaning at the beginning of the game, and as hard as possible, it sets the tone. And not only sets the tone for the opponent, but it sets the tone for the rest of the guys. So there'd be times where Jordan, I remember this Utah 2009 when Jordan Pendleton went on a blitz and he hit the quarterback and kind of flipped. It's like a famous
I know exactly what player you're talking about.
Yeah. I know exactly. And that happened, and I stopped middle of covering the receiver, and I was like, It's that type of game.
We're here right now.
Okay. And mind you, this is Utah. I'm already juiced up. I don't need no extra motivation. And in game, I took my intensity and my physicality to the next level because I saw that hit. And so when D linemen can do that, and linebackers, if they're blitzing, there's kind of this chill and this bit of eeriness that you send to the offense. And yeah, that there's a pair, right? So you have running backs and you have O linemen, right? Mm-hmm. Like D linemen and corners are a pair. It's vice versa. And there are so many times, my junior year with Jordan Pendleton, where I would go up to, I'm like, after the play, I'm like, dude, thank you for getting home because this dude's wide open. Man, you saved me.
I can't deal with this dude.
You saved me.
Tyler Batty's going to join us in a few minutes, and he's just walked into the room. I think Tyler wants to be like you. He wants to be a successful defensive end at BYU so they can go get a job in the NFL. How vital was it for him, and we'll ask him the same question, to come back for one more year before he gives it a shot?
I think it is, going to play huge dividends, for Batty, just because, you take everything you learn and pour it into that last year. I mean, it's almost like, I don't know how you felt, but for me, I kind of felt like, man, I want this year to keep going. I want, because I was playing my highest, everything comes to that point.
Yeah.
And I just loved it.
Everything clicks.
Everything clicks. And you know where to risk it, where to take risks. Yeah. Like I know, like for a DN, like I know the defense so well where I know like when I can take risks when I say take risks as a DN, I have a double go here where I can make a move inside. I'm supposed to contain, that's my job.
Right.
But I know when I can make that double move and go inside and make the play versus doing my job, but my job, and when I get a sack, it oversees it. Even though I wasn't on the outside, I made a sack or I made a play. So it's like stuff like that when every year you get better and better at it, and that's the
next
so
level.
nice.
That's the next level right there, because we talk about this on pregame, right? The first level is alignment and then assignment. That's like basic. Do your job, be outside contained. But going and making a play is understanding where I can make a risk, or because I have the knowledge of the defense, I'm able to put myself in a position where I can go above and beyond just aligning and assigning in my assignment, but I can go and make a play where I can sack the quarterback or I can get an interception. And same thing happened with me. My junior year, pre-snap, didn't move at all. Didn't move at all. I was lined up where the receiver was inside. Just waiting. My senior year, every snap I was moving.
Comfortable.
I would start for a cover two, being a cloud corner. I started at 10 yards, winning back pedal. Then another play, I would be in
jumping it.
Oh my goodness!
I know cover two. You're playing with those,
man. And then other plays where I have deep third and I'm on the line of scrimmage, but I'm not jamming. I'm bailing out because I got to get my butt back, right?
No, yeah.
And so now what that does from the quarterback's perspective, when he's looking at me, he goes, "Oh, I can't throw this. I can't throw this route because of where his coverage is." Mind you, he doesn't know that my coverage is way down the field. So once you start learning the defense and you get comfortable, and if you have the skill set and the athletic ability, you start to manipulate the defense and those calls to fit in your favor. Kyle Van Noy is the best person, because we would look and be like, Kyle, what in the world
are you doing?
What are you doing?
I'm making plays.
Bingo.
Hey, Lynn agrees with both of you. She says the second season of working with Jay Hill will make a difference since everything won't be so new. That is for sure. A couple more questions with Bronson Kaufusi on the Wise Guys. His dad, Steve, was the defensive line coach at BYU. Mom, Michelle's the mayor of Provo. Brother Corbin played basketball at BYU. Another brother, Devin, played here and at Utah. Your wife, Hillary, played soccer at BYU. And there's an army of Kaufusis that just keep going from there. But a tremendous family. I want to ask you, I want to ask you a basketball question and then a Bronco question, and then we'll get 5 questions real quick and get you out of here. Thanks so much for being here tonight.
Yeah.
So the basketball team, when you got home from your mission, needed some size.
Yeah.
And so they recruit you from the football team. You play in 20 games, scored 20 points, 26 rebounds, had 23 fouls. So that's just kind of a high number there.
Oh, I remember that now.
But but I remember too, and it was fascinating just when a defensive end just took the floor to play basketball, and you had basketball skills. You played in high school, but what was that like? I know what it's like. We've had people describe the 65,000 at LaVell Edwards Stadium. Well, when you go on, and there's 18,000 at the Marriott Center. It's a little more like on you. What's that feeling like as a competitor? Were you nervous? Were you scared?
You know what? It is completely different than football.
Yeah.
Because football, you have your helmet on. Mm-hmm. They can't see your face, but on basketball, they're literally feet from me. They see my face. They can hear me talking.
That's right.
Right? And
if you blow a layup, everyone saw it.
Everyone saw it. Yeah, it is way different. It's a different animal, but
was it fun?
Oh, it was so fun because I loved, it was cool as, I went and joined the team. They're pretty much like, okay, you're gonna, come practice with us, and then you can start traveling with us, and for me, cause I'm a competitor, right? Like in practice, everything I do, I'm gonna compete, and so I think that's why Coach Rosa and I, we just kind of looked at each other and we knew Bronson's going to go in there and play hard defense, and he's going to go as hard as he can. Cause that's all I knew. Like my whole life, that's been my thing, right? My dad's a coach.
And you were a brick wall.
Yeah, I knew my job.
No one was pushing you out.
Yeah, I was an enforcer. I was sending messages just like in football. I wanted to be physical. I as a football player, you're like, man, basketball, the way the game was headed, it was getting so soft, whereas you're watching it, and I grew up, and we all grew up watching, you have the Michael Jordan era, and you saw how physical those guys were, and I was about that. I loved that. I was like, I'm gonna play like that. So it was different, but I loved it. Yeah. I loved going. I was used to it my whole life, going from football to basketball every year of my life. So
it was fun, and what a story to tell your kids down the road. All right, Bronco Mendenhall's back in the game. Last question for you. At New Mexico, the new head coach, did that surprise the two of you? Former Bronco-ites, still Bronco-ites, but who played here. Were you surprised to see him not return to coaching, but return to Albuquerque?
You know what? I didn't know if he was going to go to Albuquerque, to be honest. To be completely honest, I didn't know. I knew he was going to come back, though. I knew that for sure.
Yeah, we all knew that.
Yeah, right? You felt like you knew that? I just I didn't know it was going to go there, but it's full circle for him, right?
Yeah. He was there before he came here
with Urlacher, and so I mean, I am when I saw that, I was pretty excited. My initial response was oh yeah, let's go. He's back in the mix. Just because I know the style of coach he is, and I'm looking forward to watching his teams and watching the defense. And when he left BYU and he went to Virginia, I still watched the Virginia.
Yep.
Watch the defense.
Well, half the staff went with him, right?
Yeah, that too.
We know all those guys.
Yeah. So I loved it.
I got to look at the schedules, but the first thing I said to myself was, if we have a bye week, BYU has a bye week, and they have a home game, I'm going to try to go to it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You think he'll get you down on the sideline?
Probably not, but Pat will.
Yeah.
At first I was a little upset when I saw that, because from the New Mexico pick, not the fact that he, is coaching again. I was like, why in the world would you do that, Bronco? In the world of NIL and resources, why in the world? And then I stopped and I thought about it, that Bronco is a builder. You look at what he did when he took over BYU, what he did at Virginia when he took that program over, and that's what gets him going, right? That's his deal. But then I also thought about the reasons why he left here, and not sure why he left Virginia, based off of what he actually said. But he needs to be at a place where he there's no red tape. He can't. Bronco, you're not going to get the best version of Bronco Mendenhall's football program if he's handcuffed at all. And so then I said,
go to a program that's going, dude, we have no handcuffs.
We have to do
whatever it takes.
He's gonna he needs all the authority, and I mean this in the most respectful way. But in order, like Bronco is really different, and yeah, it's harder. It's hard to recruit at BYU, but it's going to be even harder to recruit in New Mexico, right? and so there's going to be a lot of out of the box, strategies that he's going to have to implement. And whenever you go outside the box, you make administration a little bit uncomfortable.
Sure.
And so based off of New Mexico and their program, and I say this respectfully, I could see them saying, "Oh yeah, you don't like. Here's the key. He could be like an associate AD."
Yeah, maybe so.
You know what I mean? Like that's how much I'm assuming authority he has. But it made me feel good when I thought about that. Like, you know what? He's going to be able to have a blank canvas and literally paint it however he wants.
All right. Final 30 seconds with Bronson. 5 questions. Your favorite sports movie? What is it?
Remember the Titans.
Titans.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite singer, band?
Favorite singer, band? Oh my goodness.
Rap artist?
Rapper. Oh yeah. I like Common
it can be
Kings.
anything.
I like Common Kings.
Common Kings.
Yeah, the reggae.
Oh, okay. I never heard of
Reggae
that.
pop
All right.
mix.
Oh.
Gotta listen to it.
Ooh.
Common
You'll like it.
Kings.
You'll
Everyone
like it.
get that? Common Kings.
Yeah.
Favorite breakfast cereal?
I'm gonna go with Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
I respect that.
We respect that. I bet we do.
Favorite BYU moment?
Oh man. I think this is kind of a weird moment.
Tyler, you're getting
For
these
me when I
questions
played?
too, so pay attention.
or just overall.
Overall favorite BYU moment.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be sports. Just your overall favorite BYU moment.
You know what? When I learned my dad played for BYU, and I was a Utah fan growing up.
What? Okay, that requires a bit of an explanation.
My dad coached at Utah, right?
Yeah.
For like almost 10 years. And then he comes downstairs and gathers the family together. He's like, I'm going to BYU. And my brothers and I were like the biggest Utah fans because we were little.
Yeah.
And like 4th, 5th grade, diehard red and black on our face and at the fit in Coach Mac's kids area, right? Like,
Sure.
And so when he said, we're like, wait, first of all, we're like, no. And then he's like, I played there. And I'm like, you played football? Like, couldn't believe
That was
it.
when you found out?
That's when I found out. Yeah, I was like, and like for me, I was like, oh, I have to go throw away all my stuff now. Like, yeah.
Was that like finding out Santa Claus wasn't real?
What are you talking
Same
about?
level, like devastated?
Yeah,
Are you devastated? Like that?
devastated. I was devastated.
Listen, my mom always said that you stop believing, he stops coming. That's a risk I've never been willing to take. So that's when you found out your dad played
That was
BYU football. Was when he took a job here.
Took a job at
and that's
BYU.
when he told you.
That's hilarious.
Seems like he should have been playing you highlight video from as soon as you could walk.
I didn't even know he played football. I thought he just coached football. Yeah, you walk into my house, you don't see any football stuff anywhere. You know my dad. Like, he's like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's like low key, good man.
Yeah.
All right, final one. Your favorite advice from your wife, Hillary?
Ooh. I was like, my immediate reaction was like, listen to me more. That was my immediate reaction. But my favorite advice is, and we have always talked about this, but it's, it's not about you. Like we've always talked about like football. It's not about you. Right.
What did you counter that with soccer? It's not all about you.
It was mutual. Yeah, we saw that. She's the goalie too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I always felt like
Actually, a goalie, it is all about them. if you're a goalie on the soccer team.
yeah, that's true. Everyone would yell it and stuff. But yeah, I always felt like that was really good advice just because it helps you. Like for me, it's like whatever platform you get in life, and especially as an athlete, you get this platform and it's like, how do you use it? That's what matters. Because people are going to remember you by how you made them feel, how you helped them. The platform is just to get them to look, right? And then like what you do with it, that's what matters. So it's about them. It's not about you.
It's good.
BYUtv football analyst, former NFL defensive end, BYU defensive end, BYU center, the great Bronson Kaufusi. Will you give Tyler a high five on your way out? And we'll have a changing of the guard of defensive ends. Thank you so much for joining us.
Guys. Appreciate it.
Bronson Kaufusi on the Wise Guys tonight, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and wiseguys.com.